entertained? Are you not entertained?
What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Up for review today, we have 2000's Gladiator on 4K Blu-ray. I won't get into any plot details because you've probably already seen it. I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the video and audio quality. Now for some tech specs. The film was shot on 35mm. It's got a 4K DI. It's rated R. Runtime is 171 minutes for the extended version and 155 minutes for the theatrical cut. Aspect ratio is 239:1, so there are black bars when watching on a television. So how's it stack up to the standard Blu-ray disc? Well, it looks better. Probably the best it's gonna look. This was shot on film, so there is some finely resolved grain throughout the whole movie. Some shots it's more apparent, and other shots you can barely see any. There's also quite a few softer shots as there may be a little noise reduction being applied. But overall sharpness gets a decent bump as seen in Chapter 15 in the Coliseum. The ground now has some visible textures from dirt and stones, whereas it was softer on the regular Blu-ray. Close-ups had a fair amount of extra detail at times, with facial hair and pores being more discernible and background elements were cleaner with sharper edges, which added some extra depth to the picture. HDR usage brought out a warmer, natural feel to the film, while I thought the standard disc had a more washed appearance. The sky in some shots now had some actual blue coloring, with clouds becoming more prominent. Trees are greener, reds were more vivid, and just an overall increase in color saturation all around. Chapter 13 had some decent spectral highlights from reflections coming off armor and body sweat. Some bright highlights can seem to clip at times, but these were very few moments scattered about. Black levels were sufficiently deep, and I hadn't noticed any black crush. But there was, however, some slight banding during the intro credits. That's one thing I've always noticed on the standard Blu-ray, but it's less noticeable here in 4K.
What we doing live? Echoes in eternity.
Audio was done in DTS-X, and I found it to have a good immersion factor. High channels were used actively as an extension for the musical score, and atmospherics were always present up top and through the lower channels. Chapter 15 had some great audio movement, with chariots circling around the back of the room, and the massive crowds can be heard overhead and all around the lower channels. Chapter 11 had a very cool effect with dirt falling above your head as the gladiators look up from under the stadium. Bass response was okay and kicked on during action moments, but it never really gave my subs a heavy workout. Dialogue was always clean and always clear, so no issues there. So for audio, I'd have to go with an 8. It's not the most dynamic soundtrack, but the soundstage was wide and cinematic and followed the on-screen events nicely. For video, I'd have to go with an 8 again. Color saturation was the main thing I noticed that stood out from the 1080p version, with a decent amount of refinement to the image. There were a few close-up shots I found the standard disc to be sharper, so there may be some tinkering going on in the 4K. But overall, if you're a fan of the film, this is clearly the best way to watch it and definitely worth a purchase. Now, if you're interested in grabbing this movie, I'll leave a link in the description down below. It helps out the channel by using those links, which helps us bring you more content like this. Be sure to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, check out our social media links, and if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys again in the next one.